Chiefs Kingdom, I don't know about you, but I'm still on a high from Chris Jones signing for 5 years, $95 million guaranteed last night. But hey, we're back in the Chat Sports studio. I'm not in the middle of in my car in the middle of nowhere, so we're going to get some better rumors to you right here. We appreciate you watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jace Andrews, and man, this has been an amazing past 24 hours. You get the deal done with Chris Jones, and now what's next? Well, that's what we're going to talk about on today's show. But if you want a Chiefs three-peat, the first ever team in the Super Bowl era to win back-to-back Super Bowls, well, then subscribe today because you're not going to find better Chiefs coverage on YouTube than right here on the Chiefs Report. We're putting out videos daily, sometimes twice a day. So you're not going to find better coverage. Hit that subscribe button, youtube.com/ChiefsTV, or scroll down, little red subscribe button. Click that. It'll turn gray. It'll make me happy, and you'll join one of the largest communities of Chiefs fans on YouTube. All right, let's get the full details here of Chris Jones' contract, as we got some emerging details on what exactly is surrounding it and kind of what is guaranteed in this. So Ian Rappaport had the basics of it last night, saying the 5-year deal should make him, and now was confirmed, to make him the highest paid defensive tackle at around $32 million per year. The first $95 million are essentially guaranteed, and we're finding out that most of that is going to be within the first 2 years. Now, obviously, this is a mammoth deal for him, and it's honestly what we expected in some ways. It makes him the highest paid defensive tackle annually in the National Football League. And we talked about this all the way to last August, to be honest, on what Chris Jones wanted. Now, he kind of gets it. $32 million a year puts him just above Aaron Donald for the highest paid defensive tackle, obviously, then Quinnen Williams, Jeffrey Simmons, Darren Payne, all down here following Chris Jones and Aaron Donald. Now, we got more news this morning from Albert Breer saying that the Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones' new 5-year deal, which will come in at around $160 million, has $95 million of it over the first 3 years. The first 2 years, 24 through 25, are fully guaranteed at signing. His 2026 money vests on a guaranteed March 2025. Other details are still being ironed out. So this is honestly what Chris Jones wanted. He wanted his money. He got it. He gets a lot of it in the first couple years of his contract as well. I think how this works, though, for the Chiefs is the first 3 years are a majority of the money. They can get that out of the way, and then past that, it can kind of open up the, money sack for trying to get some more players in that kind of realm. Now, honestly, I do think that he was trying to go for potentially the highest paid defensive lineman in the National Football League. He was just short of that. Nick Bosa is the highest one at $34 million, but he is still the second paid guy, with Aaron Donald, TJ Watt, and Joey Bosa closely following behind him. But again, $32 million a year, $95 million of what will end up around $160 million is guaranteed, and it's going to be paid out over the first 3 years. Past that, though, is where we don't exactly know the full details yet. We don't know what's going to hit his cap hit, what's the signing bonus, basically a lot of things that we're just still waiting on the details for, but we'll find out over the next couple of days. Obviously, free agency opening up tomorrow, and the cap space needing to be under in terms of money by Wednesday. But again, $160 million for the all-pro defensive tackle, and in my opinion, the best defensive lineman in the National Football League. I asked the question, now that we officially know Chris Jones is back with Kansas City for 2024, will the Chiefs three-peat? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Type Y for yes. If you think yes, they're going to three-peat, they're going to get it. If you think no, then type in for no. I'm kind of curious to see what y'all say. Y for yes, N for no. Will the Chiefs three-peat in 2024 with Chris Jones now signed and a done deal? All right, so what's next? Obviously, with Chris Jones now in the books for the next 5 years, Brett Veach now has the challenging task that is required of a team who is trying to three-peat. How exactly do you manage the rest of your money, or rather, the lack thereof? Because with the deal, it kind of puts you in a little bit of a hole. So I want to first look at this at face value, meaning I'm going to assume $32 million is what's going to be paid out this year in cap space, even though it's not exactly true, but I want to get a baseline for what we could expect. So before the Chris Jones deal and after Drew Tranquill, the Chiefs' cap space sat around $1.25 million. Now, this does include the franchise tag for Sneed, which is worth around $19.8 million. So obviously, adding that back in, you're around $20 million. At face value, though, adding in Chris Jones, you're negative $29 million in the hole right now in terms of cap space, which needs to be fixed by this Wednesday. This makes me believe that a L'Jarius Sneed trade is imminent. We've already talked about that 7 teams have shown interest in L'Jarius Sneed, but there has been conflicting reports. Some people say he's worth a second-round pick. Some people say he's worth a first-round pick. Right now, we're kind of just in the waiting game and seeing what will happen. I have to assume something will happen in the next couple days now. Here's the 7 teams that have shown interest: the Vikings, the Colts, the Titans, the Patriots, the Lions, the Falcons, and the Jaguars. Now, out of these teams, there's a couple of guys that I could see better suitors. The top 2 being likelihood ones of the Vikings and Colts. But honestly, don't sleep on the Lions and Falcons. They both have pretty decent picks. The Lions having a late first-round pick, and the Falcons having an early second-round pick that could be given up for Sneed. I'm curious as to what exactly the Chiefs will end up for, because second round seems almost not enough, but first round may be too rich for some teams. Now, The Athletic has talked about this in the past couple days and said if the Chiefs enter advanced trade discussions for Sneed, they would seek at least a second-round pick. Now, since Tuesday, obviously, 6 teams have shown interest in acquiring Sneed. That has now grown to 7. And I think from here, we have to see the likely suitors as the Indianapolis Colts. They've been looking for secondary help. They have a pretty decent amount of draft picks. But from reports that I've heard, they're not willing to give up a second-round pick. Given what we've heard that the Chiefs are expecting at least that, maybe even a first, that's where the kind of roadblock hits with the Colts. That's why I mentioned the Falcons and the Lions potentially being suitors as well, given their draft stock. Now, Brett Veach obviously knows that to win 3 in a row, you have to be able to make sacrifices. And, well, I don't know if he's willing to make the sacrifice of keeping L'Jarius Sneed on the books, but I doubt he's just going to give him away for anything. It's going to be something we're going to have to keep watching, obviously, with free agency starting tomorrow. I have to assume something will happen. A report will come out within the next couple of days, if not within the next, maybe tomorrow. But I do know one thing. You can get an awesome Chiefs polo right now by going to chatsports.com/KCPolo. Shout out producer Jack. He kind of called it. Looks like an Andy Reid polo here. So, hey, you want to look like Andy Reid, Big Red? 40% off right now. Chatsports.com/KCPolo. I know we're getting into the spring weather, getting to wear those short sleeves. Well, hey, perfect timing. You get yourself a nice Chiefs polo. You can wear it on draft day in just about a month and a half from now. So it's a nice time to get it. Chatsports.com/KCPolo. Link's going to be in the comments and in the description. Go get it while the deal lasts, because I've shown you this for a couple times now, but the deal is running out soon. Chatsports.com/KCPolo. Link will be in the description and the comments of today's video. Let's talk about cap space, because I mentioned in the video, and well, it has to happen. By Wednesday, you have to be under the $255 million limit. Well, right now, they, like I said, are going to be around negative $29 million if you add in the Chris Jones deal at face value. Obviously, we're not talking about what signing bonuses are included, what's going to hit the cap, and everything that's going to go along with that. So they need to find a way to trade Sneed maybe, or a couple other things to get under that cap. The first step, I think, is to restructure Patrick Mahomes' contract, because this was something that was talked about the day before the Super Bowl happened, that Mahomes was potentially going to be restructured and could save the Chiefs nearly $30 million. Well, now he's slated for $58 million in cap hit in the 2024 NFL regular season. Now, obviously, I doubt that's going to be the value by the time we get there, and I think that things are going to have to start moving at a very quick pace over the next couple days because, well, you don't have much time to get this under the cap. Now, Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports kind of talked about what the money would look like with a restructurement of Patrick Mahomes' contract. He says, no matter what the number is, though, the Chiefs are certain to get Mahomes' cap number lower for the 2024 season at the start of the new league year in March. A simple contract restructurement would save the team roughly $37 million in cap space, and Mahomes would have a cap hit in 2024 in the low 20s. Now, I think this is going to be one that we're going to have to wait on because Mahomes has talked about it, and at this point in his career, I think he's fine. He's still going to get the money at some point, but he wants to win Super Bowls. That's the more important thing on his mind. And being the team that has the chance to go for the first three-peat ever in the Super Bowl era, it may cost you a little bit of money in that first year. And with Chris Jones signing the big contract, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid all wanting him back, you have to make sacrifices in some way. And so this is one way that's really simple. You just restructure the contract, get about $30 million, and boom, you're right back in the plus in terms of cap space. And that could allow you to potentially pick up some wide receivers or other help that could kind of lead you to New Orleans for Super Bowl 59. The second step is also a restructuring, and this time it's Jawaan Taylor. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I like Jawaan Taylor because I know the comment section would blow me up, but Jawaan did well when in terms of blocking. Things he did not do well, penalties. This guy was an absolute penalty magnet, 20 of them in 2023. And I think some of you may be like, Jace, what does 20 even mean? I don't know how many penalties somebody gets in a regular year. Well, let's look at the totals in terms of most penalized players, because Mekhi Becton was the second most penalties given out. He had 12. Jawaan Taylor had 20. Now, in terms of yardage, Tariq Woolen had 122 yards in penalties. That was second. Jawaan Taylor had 140 yards in penalties. Listen, I'm not sitting here saying Jawaan Taylor deserves to be cut or anything like that, but I think a restructuring is just the simplest thing you can do because, honestly, you hurt the Chiefs in a lot of ways last year. Did they still win, and did he still make a key impact? Yes. But when you can say he's $12.6 million, according to Jared Sapp of Arrowhead Pride, guess what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that every day of the year. And I don't think it would be that hard because I know Jawaan Taylor, you're just going to transfer that to a signing bonus, and it's not going to count. You're going to get the money pretty much right away. So I don't think it would be a problem. I have to think this may be the first step in some ways because given your negative $29 million, you could trade Sneed and do this, and boom, you're right there in positive cap space. And from there, anything you get from Patrick Mahomes would just be added on to signing a free agent. Now, obviously, with that, you want to have some money to spend. So that's why doing all three of these things almost needs to happen in some ways. As I don't know about you, I want to try and go after Darnell Mooney. I want to try and go after Calvin Ridley, Curtis Samuel, or maybe even try and go after Tyron Smith, get a tackle, get somebody to help out this team that's not just kind of running it back with everybody we had. Guess what? That's going to require Brett Veach to work that mind of his and be able to construct a cap space free, some cap space freedom for the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, I want you to name one free agent you want the Chiefs to sign, as we are literally less than 24 hours away from the legal tampering period to open up and deals to start being officially announced. Obviously, they won't be signed till Wednesday, but still, we'll find out some tomorrow, and there's a chance that tomorrow, Calvin Ridley, Marquise Brown, Curtis Samuel, or Darnell Mooney will be a Kansas City Chief. We'll have the report for you right here, but name one you want to see in a Chiefs red uniform by tomorrow. We appreciate you watching. Obviously, we are going to keep you updated through all of this time as the offseason is still just ramping up. We have free agency tomorrow. The draft then follows soon after. And then, hey, at that point, you're only a couple months away from the season starting back up. So don't worry, you're in the right spot for Chiefs coverage. We appreciate you as always, and we will see you next time on the Chiefs Report. But for now, peace out.